Welcome. This is the first episode of the UPIKE Sports No Sports podcast. I'm Assistant Athletic Director and Sports Information Director Dan White, and the purpose of this weekly 30-minute show is to talk with one of our student athletes or coaches about things they are into away from athletics. Sometimes, due to the daily routine of athletic administration, games, practices, press releases, and more, I tend to forget that we have some pretty smart and interesting students playing sports at UPIKE. In this initial episode, I sit down with women's soccer head coach Gary Warford and senior Eleanor Hollingsworth. Both of them share stories of world travel. Elle's included a summer of studying abroad, and Gary talks about his time serving with the Navy. We also mix in plenty of talk about coffee, video games, and even The Walking Dead. I enjoyed this conversation with them, and I hope you do too. Before we get started, I'd like to thank those that made this show possible, including The Holler, Bruce Parsons, Clay Maggard, and Jacob Stratton. The Holler is a social learning network for students in Eastern Kentucky and Central Appalachia. Along with UPIKE, The Holler partners with the Kentucky Valley Educational Cooperative, a co-op of educational groups serving member district schools in Eastern Kentucky. And it's also partnered with the Appalachian Renaissance Initiative, a consortium of 17 rural school districts that share resources and professional learning opportunities. So without further ado, here is episode 1 of the UPIKE Sports No Sports podcast. The UPIKE Sports No Sports podcast. I'm going to try to do this every week. And why do this show? Well, because I spend most of my day wrapped up on the computer, writing press releases, updating game notes, inputting statistics, updating the website, and rarely do I ever get out of that routine now. I'm basically in that, and sometimes I forget that our student athletes have a life off the field or the court, which is kind of rough. So I thought maybe we could record something each week where we talk to a coach or a player and kind of try to hit everything but sports, kind of what's going on in their life. Maybe our staff here at UPIKE or parents or other coaches can get a chance to listen to it, understand that we have a life beyond the field. So the weather, kind of dreary out there. It's turning cold. I know we might as well go ahead and tell y'all this is the women's soccer staff, head coach Gary Warford, and then one of our senior players, Eleanor Hollingsworth. So that's one sports right there, okay? I'm going to try to limit it to like 5 mentions, but we have them here with us. Even though it's cold, I'm still drinking about 3 iced coffees a day. And ironically, coffee could be a part of this discussion. First of all, Eleanor, Gary, Coach told me one of your first meetings was at a coffee shop in downtown Lexington, Kentucky. How did that come up? I don't know. We can start with you, Coach.
Well, I had just been given the head coaching job here at the University of Pikeville, of course, Pikeville College back then. And I was looking at the recruiting list of the previous coach, and Eleanor's name was on the recruiting list, and I contacted her. And at the time, she was still in Australia, so a lot of our communiques were through herself and her mom. But when she made it back to the States, we arranged a time and a place to meet. It was a little coffee shop downtown Lexington, and it started from there. Walked in, introduced myself, and immediately she replied with this Australian accent, and I started thinking, oh, wow, we have an international player here from Australia that I didn't know anything about. That's going to have to I'm going to have to go back and rethink my budget now.
Exactly.
And so we continued the conversation, and come find out she picked up the accent because she was in Australia for an extended length of time.
You heard the country accent come back out.
It's here now.
Well, that's all. Well, Elle, what were your first impressions then of Coach? I mean, you're kind of meeting your coach for the first time. Or what are you thinking in that coffee shop in Lexington where it all started?
It was random. I didn't know what to expect. I had been recruited by a different coach, and I was really nervous to meet Gary because he wasn't my initial recruitee or recruiter, and so it was good. It was a good first meeting, and it is still good.
You know, and it's only my second year here, so when I got the job, I was going through rosters too, and I was like, I came from Lindsey Wilson. We had a lot of international players. I was like, Eleanor Hollingsworth. Well, we got another international one, and I just wanted to see what this girl was like. And I go to a game, and finally see her, I'm like, well, actually, she looks like maybe she's from Kentucky. You know, I kept talking to her. She's actually from Versailles, so we were actually neighbors. We were just talking about that before the show. So not international, but kind of international. Maybe we'll hit on that Australia part in a minute. Coffee is probably how I've had the most interaction with Elle, because the Roasted Coffee and Cafe downtown, it opened over the summer, and she started working there. When did you start that, and how are you liking it?
They Roasted opened up this past summer, and I was lucky enough to contact the manager right when they opened up, and they gave me a job right on, and it's been perfect. I love coffee. So that job is perfect.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you like the coffee, or do you just like the atmosphere, or what's going on
I
there?
do like the atmosphere, and it's something Pikeville hasn't seen before, like espresso at all.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool being like that first step, you know, for coffee in Pikeville.
I was wearing out McDonald's iced coffees there for like probably a year and a half. I mean, just a constant visitor. And so when I saw Roasted was coming, I think it was maybe a Facebook announcement. I ride my bike a lot, and I was literally riding my bike there like every day just to look at the building.
Yes.
I was like, they're not far enough yet. They're not far enough. But now I firmly believe I have to be in like at least the top 10 spenders there. So Roasted,
Yes.
if we ever need a sponsor, if this show becomes big, I'm here. You know, we can talk about that. Now, I've gotten Gary in there actually maybe once or twice. I don't know if we get him on the straight coffee, but he likes the frozen drink maybe.
I am a frappe mochaccino fan, big time.
And you may see Coach Warford running a lot around town. It's good you have that exercise regimen, because I'm not sure what the caloric amount is in those L. You may have like
637 calories.
It is bad.
A nice little 4-mile run usually burns off about 500 calories. So we're still in
I think one pump of
deficit.
the flavoring is like close to like ridiculous amounts.
Yeah.
That is scary.
Because I'm just straight black, no cream, no sugar, and
Good
there was
for you.
a couple
Good for
of
you.
the girls that worked in there just couldn't understand that at first, and I would just hand it back to me just like full of milk, and I was like, I don't know if we can do this.
We're
But
not gonna
now
work out.
I'm like first name basis there. Once again, Roasted Coffee and Cafe. If you want to sponsor this podcast, we can probably talk
Now,
rates.
in addition to coffee, they have nice teas and sandwiches and sweet treats to augment your coffee fixation.
Now, let's not get too crazy about making this the roasted thing yet, but yes, they have a lot of good sandwiches. They have some roasted nuts there. Roasted nuts. Maybe that's why they're called roasted.
I don't think so.
Okay,
But-
and denied. Well, okay, finally maybe we should get off roasted, because until they give us that sponsorship, I don't know how much more we can give them. I know one thing. Before coming to UPIKE, I was told you had an interesting high school career, and you did Australia for a portion of it. How did that come about?
I did. I actually didn't play my senior year. I was kind of going through a rebel phase and didn't play my senior year. And after my senior year, I decided to take a gap year, and I lived with some family in Australia and kind of backpacked around. And I think probably the week before I left for Australia is when that recruiter found me and offered me a scholarship to come to what was Pikeville College. And I was like, oh, I can't do it, maybe in a year. And I came back and he wasn't there, but that's when Gary called me up and was like, we still want you, come on. And Australia was a good thing. Everyone should take a gap year if you can take a gap year.
Yeah, I think I took lots of gap years in high school, but it wasn't maybe for the travel, just more in my mind. You know, thank God I found something I love in sports information, but I didn't get to do anything quite as cool as Australia. But, you know, having that background probably got you interested in what you did over the summer. Just in the little bit of talks I did with Coach Warford, it was Cyprus, which that's an island maybe in the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
Hope I said that right. What was that all about?
I really wanted to study abroad. It's probably been one of my biggest goals through college, and I finally got the opportunity. You know, I paid out of pocket for a plane ticket, and I wasn't even sure if like I would get the classes I wanted, and everything just really fit into place. And I went over there, and it was like a dream. I was in the Mediterranean on an island that was like took like 2 hours to get to the other side of the island. It was tiny. It was awesome. It was surrounded by like the best countries, Turkey, Egypt, Greece, everywhere. I went all over the place, and it was amazing. I played on the field with people that have never played soccer with a girl before. That was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I've had food that I've never had before, and I got some good hours in for school. So
what was I hate to, we're talking about sports, but why was it that you were the first girl to play with them? Is there a lack of female athletes there?
Yeah, there's no women's sports teams. There's definitely soccer over there. And it was actually just crazy they came up to me afterwards and was like, this is the first game we've ever played with a girl. We've never stepped on the field with a girl. And I was like, what? How is that even possible?
Yeah, because in America, we're just getting so used to it. So that was crazy to hear that could happen. Like you were the first one to play with them.
Actually, the U.S. men's team was supposed to play in Ukraine, I think. And there was a lot of like bomb threats, and then the whole thing with Russia was happening at that time that I was over there. So they moved the U.S. men's game to Cyprus, right outside of where I was staying. So we got to meet up with the U.S. men's national team after their game in Cyprus, which was awesome.
Yeah, that's super cool.
That was really cool.
So what were you studying exactly? How did it fit into your UPIKE curriculum?
I was studying all biology classes, all but one. I had a photography class.
Okay.
But they were hard classes. The curriculum is hard. I think you have a midterm and a final in all of your classes. It's hard lifestyle. I don't know how they do that, but.
And Gary, you just got one of your players going to a senior year over there in Greece. I mean, were you hoping she'd make it back? Wouldn't just fall in love over there? And
Well, you always have to emphasize the student athlete first. So your student first, athlete comes second. So when Eleanor told me that she was interested in studying abroad, of course, I was pulling my hair out because she was going to miss our entire spring season, and that's usually when you lay out your groundwork and framework for the fall. But it was definitely a growing experience for Eleanor. I can tell that, of course, over the 4 years that she's been with me, that she's matured in each and every time she's left campus, and this was just another fine example of her maturing as a student first and then athlete second. So I think that her experience has definitely made her a more well-rounded person, and her being able to come back and share those experiences with the team, her culture exchange and things like that, has definitely enhanced our cultural aspect as far as our team culture goes.
And what's kind of crazy to me to think that, did you go essentially alone, or were you going to know anybody when you got there?
I went all alone.
Okay, so just walk us through that from I'm getting on. You took a plane there, I'm guessing. You didn't take like a kayak or anything.
It wasn't like in Australia where my family's over there. I didn't even know if I was really truly enrolled in a school. I just kind of flew over there and hoped that things would work out.
Where did you think you'd be living, or was that already set up?
That was set up for me through the program that I went through.
Now, does this program have a name now that we're talking about
Global Learning Semesters.
Global Learning Semesters. So, and that kind of is my next question. I heard about people going abroad when I was in college, and I've heard about it at places I've worked. I never get to the point where I'm asking exactly how it happens. Now, is this like do you sign up? Do you apply? How did you get chosen?
You made it sound like I'm very special.
Well, I
didn't get chosen.
Yeah.
I looked at I actually went online and looked at biology-related programs. And then I had initially tried to go to Africa, Tanzania specifically, and I got it all worked out, and I was going to go to Tanzania, and then the scholarships that I had applied for pulled out at the last second because they told me that Africa was dangerous and they weren't going to send me over there to get hurt. So I had to pick a new place, and Cyprus was another biology school, and it all just fell into place like that. They really take care of you. And my advisor was just like on me all the time. Like, did you do this? Did you turn in this yet? And it all just, it's a lot easier once you get the ball rolling, but it's hard to.
So if somebody wanted to do it, you just kind of recommend getting online, kind of researching and looking scholarships. And I'm sure there's a monetary aspect too, which just probably ties into needing to do some work on your own, earn some money, because it's probably not cheap even when you're there.
It's definitely, it's not that cheap. Luckily, my FAFSA, your FAFSA really plays a big role in it.
Okay.
If you get a lot of money from FAFSA, you can really just take all of that money and use it for the scholarship to go over there. But like, I couldn't use my soccer scholarship that got taken off, and like my room and board scholarship. But
do your FAFSAs early, people.
do your FAFSA.
I also
early.
always just liked that word when I was in high school. It was like FAFSA. If you just say that over and over, you're like FAFSA. I don't know.
You know, and for
Strange.
those,
It's strange. Yeah.
It's weird, but anyway.
And
Okay,
for
Gary,
you-
say something serious.
well, for UPIKE students, I mean, we actually have a really established study abroad program that you can explore either online or I think it's on the 3rd floor of Arlington is where that office is. The
So
study abroad
UPIKE
office.
can even help you get that
Yes.
rolling. And Gary, I mean, I think we got to mention you might have had some experience abroad because you were in the Navy before you got into coaching. What was that like, and did you get to experience world travel?
I did. I basically went to all the major regions except for Europe. I didn't get a chance to make it that side of the world, but it's definitely an eye-opening experience when you are a minority in a country of people who don't speak the same language that you do, which was the case with pretty much every country I went to. In the Philippines, it was Tagalog. Of course, in Japan, it was Japanese. Korean, it was Korean. And it was definitely just an experience that has made me a better person, I think.
And I've even heard like pointing at things is sometimes like derogatory in other countries. Like if you're looking at a menu and you're just pointing like I want this, they actually want you to attempt some type of.
Well, as I take my gum out so I can speak perfect English here, chewing gum in Singapore is actually a jailable offense. So this would definitely put me in jail in Singapore.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
They have really specific things like that in Cyprus too. I remember a friend of mine took out tomatoes from his gyro sandwich, and the woman who had cooked his gyro came out and like got in his face, and apparently she was asking why he didn't like the food that she'd cooked and kind of like kicked us out.
There's probably like even more of like a mindfulness for wasting culture.
Yeah.
Internationally, like we throw away so much here.
Well, since we're talking about food, one of the things that I liked about New Zealand was the fact they didn't call ketchup ketchup. It was tomato sauce.
Tomato sauce.
And then
I don't like that.
Yeah, it was tomato sauce. And then in Australia, there's a staple in their diet that I have really come to enjoy. Every time Eleanor's mom comes in, I tell her to bring me some Vegemite.
I've probably smelt that more than I've tasted it because it's a little off-putting.
Spreadable beef jerky.
Yeah, spreadable beef jerky. I always got it mixed up with Nutella because everybody loves the Nutella
You
here.
won't get that mixed
And
up
I'm
with
like,
Nutella.
if you used it for the same use as Nutella, you'd probably throw up. But what about coffee in Cyprus? How was the coffee shop scene?
Ooh, coffee was awesome. It was definitely nothing like the hot water with coffee beans going through. It was more like espresso and milk, but yeah, they don't really like American coffee ways.
So y'all team up on this question a little bit, and what's the biggest difference from your international experiences? I don't really have any. I went to Tijuana, Mexico when I was like in middle school, and that did not culture me as much as scare me, but you all have been to some nice places, and what's the biggest difference in the lifestyle that they have there than what we have here?
I think, well...
And it can be what's better here than there? You know?
Not to keep
Because I know
along...
that question always gets turned into, well, here's why it's so much better than Kentucky.
Well, not to keep talking about food,
Here we go.
but I really enjoyed being able to have fresh fruits and vegetables.
That's always nice.
And
Like the farmer's market every day.
open markets. I mean, we really don't have that here.
You have to schedule like an hour window to make it to a farmer's market here, maybe once a week, where I get that.
But I mean, with the farmer's market that sells everything, not just the produce, but meats and fish and things like that. Bread, fresh baked bread.
So the biggest difference in international and Kentucky is fresh fruit and vegetables, according to Coach Warford.
I would also have to.
We're not getting into politics here. It is fresh. I like that because
It's all about the food.
I like the food question, but what would you say as far as like education, lifestyle? What could we learn from what they do?
Well, most of the countries that I traveled to actually had year-round schooling. And I know every time we mention that here in the States, people always, get upset and get a bind because full-time schooling, that seems like there's no time to be a kid. But in actuality, they have plenty of downtime.
Yeah.
And if you look at international test scores, I mean, United States is starting to lag behind in our education system. It's something we should really look into, is to make that across-the-board unified year-round school for our K through 12.
Yeah, I don't like how sometimes in America we're not open to taking bits and pieces of what other people are doing right. We'll just continue maybe to do a wrong way, whether it's healthcare or education. But you all just gotten to see that international style, and you, Elle, over there dealing with educational type things. Did you sense a difference in how you were being taught, or I don't know, just what were the differences in maybe like your American classes and what you did over there?
I would say that the classes here are better. I have a connection. I can make connections with teachers, whereas over there it almost felt like someone was coming in, reading off the slides, and then leaving. And they didn't really have office hours, so it was like you had to go to class. And I think I had one class 1 day a week, so it was like a big 3-hour block, and that's the only time that you could talk to your teacher. And with only a midterm and only a final, it was very stressful.
Sounds like they put more of the emphasis on you to take care of yourself instead of maybe some support. Yeah, I think that's bad, because you go to college because your professors, they've been through it and they know how to help you and things, and I would miss that interaction.
Yeah, definitely.
I asked some people to describe Eleanor Hollingsworth. Maybe Coach Warford was one of them. Yes. And it wasn't that telling. I mean, they didn't tell me anything bad or embarrassing, but they did. And I thought this was a compliment. They said work. Like, this girl likes to work and traveling. And what is it that gives you a work ethic where you want to do things like that?
I think I'm addicted to change.
Okay.
And
which is the complete opposite of myself. I don't like change.
Explain addicted to change when dealing with like work. Is it you like to be doing different things, or?
Yes, okay. I love the aspect of meeting new people. I like helping new people. I like learning about different cultures. If I could, I would minor in religion, but I don't have enough time. I am very driven to learning about new lifestyles. And I don't know, the jobs that I work at, well, I guess roasted, I love coffee.
Sure.
But I'm also a server. And I meet new people all the time. And because I work at the Hilton, they're usually from out of town. And people really open up when you ask them just a few questions. And I have met so many people from all over this country that come and stay at that hotel, and I love hearing their stories,
Pikeville is kind of, you don't think about it as much, but you get a lot of travelers. Yeah. There's historical things here. There's events at the Expo Center. You may even have some national acts come through there. Oh,
yeah, definitely. We had some CMT guy come in, and all these people from New York were in here, and that was kind of crazy.
Because what exactly are you doing with your college degree that you hope for when you get done?
Or
is that in the air still?
That is still in the air.
That's not a bad thing, actually. I think it could be bad when too many college students have like a one track where they know they want to do. Okay, that could be good for some people, but the way you've explained how you like to travel and everything, you're probably going to be the type that just kind of finds their way into something.
Yep. I think I have an idea, but
Okay, can you give us some examples of the ideas?
Okay. Well, I'm planning on moving to Alaska at the end of this year, and Alaska is just kind of like, the wild frontier. And I thought I wanted to go into nursing, but it's recently changed, and I think I want to go into park naturalist type jobs. And work. I'll be right outside of Denali National Forest. I might want to try to work with organismal diversity or something with animals, zoology or something. I don't know. It's just opened up so many doors. I think when you travel, new things open up for you. So.
If there's one thing I can tell you about Eleanor Hollingsworth, it's the fact that she sets her mind to do something, it's going to get done.
Mm-hmm.
So if she decides that's what's her track that she wants to do after she graduates college, it will get done.
Well, and that's you got to like that on the athletic field as well. So it's probably somebody you can be confident in. If you give her a direction, that she'll get it done, and the team respects that. So, I like that whole aspect.
Well, work ethic can be connected with athletics and academia because, like I said, Eleanor, she's always in the books. We go on away trips. All of our players bring their books and things like that within our laptops, but Eleanor's always into her books. I mean, while others might be watching a movie or something on the way back from a game, she's in the books. And, she's always going to her labs and classes on time, doesn't miss. And
gosh, yeah, I mean, have a little fun sometimes.
I'm a nerd,
I don't think she misses at least, but that shows on the athletic field as well because Eleanor is a skilled soccer player, and we play in one of the toughest conferences in the country, and it requires us to go above and beyond.
And in my position, I get just as excited writing the Scholar Athlete, the academic awards, as I do a big win press release. And that might sound very academia and, just like I'm talking out of my head, but that is 100% the truth because that tells you if they're doing that work in the classroom, then I have a hard time thinking they're not doing it on the field. And when one of those things is suffering, I think you get the gist of what I mean. I think it goes hand in hand. But this traveling lifestyle and the jobs you're looking at, it does all sound expensive, and I know you save up for trips and stuff and work, but you're probably working now because you have another trip in mind.
I do.
Where is the next Eleanor Hollingsworth stop? Where in the world is Eleanor Hollingsworth?
Where in the world?
In a few months.
I am going to New Zealand, actually probably like 2 days after I finish with finals. So.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Is that going to be a fun New Zealand trip?
It is. It's going to be fun. I've got my backpack ready to go.
And by that, I mean, is there an academic aspect of this trip?
No.
Okay. So then that'll be great.
Completely fun. No ties. Kind of like a graduation gift to myself. I've got some family over there, and I'm just going to go around the islands.
And when will you have a degree in hand from the University of Pikeville? When's that going to happen?
Hopefully this spring.
Hopefully this spring. Okay,
Yeah.
so you could have maybe another class possibly or two to do here, or you pretty much sure you'll be done.
Then I'll be good to go. Yeah.
So organic chemistry, if she can pass organic chemistry, she will be good to go
Please,
for
Dr.
UPIKE.
Clayton, please.
Yeah, okay, you can ask he might listen to this, so yeah.
Here's the thing I want to bring up. If I didn't know that Eleanor was going to travel to New Zealand, I'm going to be her +1 on that trip.
Oh, okay.
It's been a few years since I've been to New Zealand. I love Christchurch, New Zealand. It's beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous country.
Yeah, I'll probably go to like Nashville or something.
Oh, well, Mom lives in Nashville.
Okay,
so.
cool. I like Nashville. I like Louisville, Nashville. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. I maybe I could get into the international stuff. I think you kind of have to have like a mind for or a want, desire. I don't have that right now.
I almost think I'd have to say the opposite. Once it's kind of like, what can I connect it to? It's like you get a bite of it and you just want more. It's very
like
addicting.
Lay's potato chips.
Yes.
Isn't that their slogan? Like you
Maybe
can't
it's Pringles. Once you
pop, you can't stop. Pringles, Lay's sponsor the UPIKE Sports No Sports podcast. They don't have you yet at Roasted Coffee and Cafe, but we can maybe get you in there. Well, anyway, I think we've hit on lots of things. I kind of want to end all of these by talking about a situation where there's no practice and there's no game. I want to know what.
What do you mean no practice?
Coach, just in your mind right now, envision a world where women's soccer practice and games don't matter. I want to know what is Coach Warford doing on a night after work here in Pikeville. What keeps you going outside of soccer?
Well,
TV show, movie, exercise.
Well, hold on. First of all, I am too a student as well. I'm still working on my dissertation to can be completed hopefully by Christmas, if not the first of spring.
Will you be the Dr. Warford?
It will be Dr. Warford, and you will refer to me
Will you
as
make me call it? Okay.
Dr. Warford, yes. And you will buy me my first coffee as a
Yep.
doctor. But
No,
other than
you'll
that,
buy him a coffee. What are
I
you
don't
saying?
think so. There's no pay raise in that.
Oh,
But
come on. Dr.
if I'm not in the middle of research or reading for literature reviews and all that fun stuff that goes with the dissertation, I am watching The Walking Dead.
Here he comes. You know what? I got off Walking Dead. They put it on Netflix. Maybe the latest season that's available, season 4. I'm back in.
For an advice, I mean, they showed at 9 o'clock. Don't eat dinner at 9 o'clock while you're watching this season's Walking Dead. It's pretty horrific.
Yeah, I had my dinner out last time watching on Netflix a couple nights ago, and I just couldn't finish.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But it's a great show. I mean, it's not about people think, oh, you like The Walking Dead, you like zombies. No, it's not about zombies. It's about humanity and what's left behind to keep things together.
Way to make it passionate.
My thing with those shows, from the first episode, all I want to know is how it ends. And that's how I always am with those types of programs, because they're going to have such a hard time ending that show to make.
Everyone's going to die.
Okay.
Well,
that would be terrible.
Let me
Well,
just
they're
tell
already-
you, everyone's going to die.
But if you understand the whole premise behind
And
it,
it is a comic book, so
is
is
a
there a
comic
way
book.
to see what happened?
they're on number 109 or 110 in the comic books with no chance of it slowing down. So the comic books are still being written. But the reason why it's called The Walking Dead is because everyone's infected. So they indeed are the Walking Dead.
Good point. Here's my thing. Okay, you get down to that last living person. When they die,
Yes.
I don't know. This is just weird. Walking Dead has a lot to explain. I have a feeling they might have to just go with one of those. It's been a dream the whole time from some little boy. That's the only way you can end it without getting real confusing.
I've heard that premise that Rick, one of the main characters, is going to wake up and it's just
Yeah.
going to be a dream.
That was, I believe, the show Roseanne. At the very end of that, she woke up. That was in the 90s.
I think Dallas tried that too back in the
Yeah.
in the 80s. I'm starting to show my age a little bit.
Well, and then we just go over to Eleanor, and Eleanor, the same question. No practice tonight. No game. They actually do have practice, everybody.
We do.
Okay, but if you didn't have practice, what are you doing? What are you doing tonight in Pikeville? I mean, or if you were able to travel, say, to Lexington or something, what keeps you going off the field?
Well, if I didn't have a microbiology
Don't say
test,
work.
and if I didn't have work, oh man, free time? I don't know what that is.
You ride a bike a little bit, don't you?
I might like paint my nails or
Oh.
something.
Well, that's great. That was an answer I wasn't expecting. Because right now you got a very nice, it's like a line, silver line over a blue. I could have maybe used some orange, but that's good.
It was for the UK game.
You can't do blue and orange together.
We're gonna edit that out.
That's
We're gonna edit
Florida.
that out. I don't know about UK.
Oh, that's
Sorry.
right. Dan's a staunch U of L fan.
I am
What?
a U of L graduate. I am now a UPIKE fan. And
You
I mean
don't
that from the
belong
bottom
here.
of my heart. Well, in Eastern Kentucky, yes. I think when Elijah Justice, who played basketball for us last year, was there, was probably when I should have been living in Pikeville, because then I would have been accepted maybe by a few people for my fandom. But now it's not working out. I don't tell people that a lot, especially at like doctor's visits, because the last thing you want is the person, checking on your health to know you're a U of L fan.
Yeah.
And, you just never know. But I'm loving it here at UPIKE. So we got Gary, Walking Dead, because he's canceling practice tonight, and Elle's going to paint her fingernails.
Oh my gosh.
And I will probably drink coffee and play some retro video games, because that's pretty much what I do.
Nice.
Yeah. But anyway, guys.
So which game are you on this week?
Well, okay. I've been getting back in my NES collection, the regular Nintendo, and there's a game called Rockin' Cats, and it's a rare one. You can't find it. I believe it's about $70 or so if you find it in a retro store. Great game, and I've been playing it. I have a goal to completely finish all of my games that I own, because I keep buying them and not playing them.
And here's a
Rocking
question.
cats.
Rockin' Cats. No, not with a G, just Rockin' Cats.
Here's a question for you, Dan White. Can you defeat Bald Bull?
What?
Yes, I can get to Bald Bull. Let's put it that way. I can get to Bald Bull right now if you handed me a controller, but beating him is a different story. I've seen I've seen Tyson go down in Punch-Out, the Mike Tyson's Punch-Out game one time. I think you have to block for the entire first round, and then the next round, if you get him one time down, he's down. But
Right.
that is a great game. They just don't make them like that anymore.
They don't make them like
But
that anymore.
they also may not make another player like Eleanor Hollingsworth that likes to travel around the world, and she's going to be leaving us soon, Coach. And you get a little emotional sometimes when you think about this senior class.
Don't get me crying.
Yeah, we need tears on the first episode.
This was this was my first freshman group that's in here, and they've seen a lot of history. They've been through a lot of rough times with me. They've seen me grow. They've enhanced my growth, and hopefully I've returned the favor. But this is my family, and watching them graduate and get their degree is the ultimate for me, and watch them succeed. I have several of the players that are now engaged that are going to graduate, and get married and all that fun stuff. And it's like, these are my daughters.
Mm-hmm.
And when I brought them on board and they stayed with me all 4 years, they did more for the program than anybody can ever imagine, because our program was in dire straits and they stuck with it. They stuck through my mistakes, because I made many, because it was my first job as a head coach of college. But we've grown together for the past 4 years. It's going to be a tearjerker on senior night, November 1st versus Georgetown. Not only because we beat Georgetown, but because I'm going to be seeing these girls play at home for the last time.
We may do like a live cry cam that stays on you the whole time. We'll see about that. But just kidding, everybody. But we'll hop into sports briefly. You just heard him. You can come out, watch Elle and her team. Head coach Gary Warford one last time at the Bob Amos Park on November 1st. That's against Georgetown, a friendly rival of us here in the Mid-South Conference, and that's over at Bob Amos Park at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, those games are always free of charge, and they're pretty entertaining. I love it. I have to be there, but I would be there anyway. I love it. You're 8-5 so far. You're 2-3 in the conference. It's been said over and over on the social medias and the things like that. This is the best start we've ever had at UPIKE, and the only way to keep this momentum going is to finish strong. We are going to go to the conference tournament this year. When you're in tournament play, anything can happen. But we'll cut it off there because we're not talking about sports here. But I will be glad to see you all at the next game. Go ahead, tell us one little thing about sports, Gary. I know you need to.
It's not really about sports. It's just, the conference tournament, it's great. But getting back to this being my first graduating class, this is also a class that has a collective GPA of above a 3.5.
Wow.
So to say that, and they're going to graduate in 4 years, which if you look at the national averages, it's taking people about 4.5 to 5 years to get a 4-year degree. So, and these girls are doing it, these young ladies are doing it on time. And for them to balance out athletics with academia is just absolutely amazing. And it makes me more proud to see them graduate than to play in a conference championship, I think.
Yeah, a 3.5 GPA overall and an 8-5 record. You're kind of living the dream.
Yes.
So, Elle, thank you.
Thank you.
Be safe on your travels. I will be here. Nashville, maybe. Something. I'll send you a postcard. Gary, we'll see you out there running off those frappes. And I'll keep drinking that iced coffee, and we'll be great.
You wait till you hit 40, Dan. Your metabolism slows down.
You mean 20 years from now? I can't think that far. No, I got the old 30th birthday coming up soon. So, yeah, I have a YMCA membership just so I can have the little thing on my keys. I don't actually use it. I should start going up there.
Every day.
Thank you.
Old men.
Yep.
Old men.
Well, to wrap it up, that's been the first episode ever of the UPIKE Sports No Sports podcast. I think we may have had like 5 or 6 sports references, but I think they ended up back into athletics or academics somehow, so it's all good. So, Clay Maggard, thank you for producing us, and you're in the Holler studio. He's actually on the other side of the wall, so just promise he's there. Bruce Parsons with the Holler here. Go to the holler.org, TheHoller.org, and sign up for our membership there. They're the ones kind of helping us do this. Hopefully we can keep this going. We're going to try to have all the teams in here from UPIKE and get to know our athletes a little better. I'm glad we're doing this. So, Clay, take us out. Thanks.